Hi, I'm Jake Ehaka and I'm here today at OI New Zealand to have a look at mechanical engineering in the glassmaking industry.
Jake is joining the team at OI New Zealand, one of 79 glass-making plants based in 21 countries around the world. It's New Zealand's only glass maker and its 6 production lines run 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Hi, I'm Jake.
Hey Jake, my name's Mohammed. Welcome to OI Glass New Zealand. Got plenty to show you, so let's get you signed in, eh?
Sweet as.
Mohammed Hafiz is a line manager at OI New Zealand. First there's an induction and safety briefing, and then he joins Mohammed for a tour around the factory.
The machines can be very complicated itself. There's a lot of things to learn mechanically and also electrically, and put it all together to make a glass bottle.
Working here is unique. Staff have to be skilled in both mechanical engineering and glass making. Jake's first lesson is to find out how glass is made.
What raw materials do you use?
All right, the raw materials we have is sand, soda ash, and limestone, and colored. We call it colored, but this is all recycled glass that we get back from the consumers out there.
More than half the raw material used to make the glass is recycled. The material is elevated into batch hoppers, which supply the furnace. It goes from the hoppers into the furnace where it's melted at 1600 degrees Celsius to create molten glass. The molten glass then goes into an orifice ring, then cut into sections called gobs. The gobs are then loaded into the blank side of the machine where it's pressed or blown into a parasint, which is a miniature version of what the bottle will look like when it's completed. The parasint is then moved over to the mould side of the machine, where it's blown into its final form, whether it be a jar, beer bottle, or wine bottle. Gobs, blanks, and moulds, there's a lot of new names for Jake to get his head around. And his first job has another new name, a process called mopping.
One of the things is just to lubricate the actual gear, because it does run quite hot, so you've got to keep it to get it down to a certain temperature. We're lubricating with special oil that we get. It's got a high graphite content, which keeps it nice and friction-free on the blanks. Yeah, every hour we take bottles off the line. We'll take a sample set every hour, and then we'll check through the sample set for defects, visual defects, anything that will cause issues with the customers, consumers, so on, and anything that's found, we rectify the fault before we put it back into a layer.
The company produce hundreds of different bottles, and each bottle design has its own mould. The slightest wear in a mould will produce a fault in a bottle, so this huge workshop is mostly dedicated to maintaining moulds. Jake is watching mould shop fitter Mark Robinson spray weld. Metal particles are sprayed onto a damaged part, and that builds up a new surface. The area is then very carefully filed and ground back to a very precise dimension.
You place the 2 halves of the mould together.
Yeah.
You use this chain clamp to keep them nice and tight.
Yep.
Place it down on here. Get the light in behind it so you can see what you're doing. Then you use this tool here to buff out the welds and make the cavity smooth. So if you want to have a go at that. Basically, practice makes perfect when it comes to repairing molds. The more you do it, the more you'll get the hang of it. You have to be very good with your hands and to have a good eyesight. You have to be very precise with your tools. Okay, that looks good.
Sweet.
Open up the cavity again. Just get a closer look at it.
Apprentice Scott Holden has followed his brother into the company and is enjoying the training.
Yeah, it's been so cool. Learned heaps of new things. Learned how to machine, weld, maintenance.
2 Competens account managers supervise apprentices. Adrian Don looks after the glass side, while Gerard Robbins looks after the mechanical side.
Apprentices need to understand and know about the glass industry combined with the mechanical engineering, which is where they end up with 2 qualifications.
The apprentices are not employed by OI New Zealand, but by a trust.
ATNZ is a trust, non-profitable charitable trust, whereabouts we employ the apprentices directly and we host them or second them out to a company like OI Glass. It's a benefit for all because they're being paid as they're learning and they're coming out with a qualification at the end that is recognised worldwide.
Neil Ollerton is the company training manager.
So what I thought we'd do today is actually revise those defects. So if you guys start with that one, and you guys can start with that one. What do you think's wrong with that one?
False bottom of the glass there.
Does anybody know what we call these faults?
Yeah, there are critical defects.
Yeah, excellent. The sort of people who have succeeded in this area have spent some part of the youth tinkering with things, taking things apart, putting them back together again. It's people who want to look and know how things work. There's opportunities to work internationally. We have had ex-apprentices who worked on teams which have travelled all over Asia Pacific fixing machines.
Jake's now learning about worn plungers.
So this is the damaged plunger with a dent on the corner.
A plunger is the mould for the screw top area. It has to be reprofiled on the lathe.
It is a fantastic, interesting place to work. You know, the process is fascinating. The engineering behind the process is fascinating, and it's great to see the things that the people we've worked and trained actually out on the shelves in New Zealand.
Safety is number one for our glass. We pride ourselves on our safety record. You're working with 1600 degrees in the furnace, and on the machines you could be working up to 800 degrees with the bottles itself. We're using the right protective gear. Glass making has been around for centuries. It's come a long way in the industry with the innovation we've already had, but we're always continuously looking for new ways of improving our processes and making a perfect bottle. Jake's shown a lot of interest in the industry. He's very keen to learn, and he's definitely got the right attitude, so I think he's got a long way to go.
I've really enjoyed my visit. It was a good look into the industry. There's a lot to learn, but I think I wouldn't mind giving it a crack.
The ATNZ Trust is New Zealand's largest employer of mechanical engineering apprentices, competens, manages and delivers the ATNZ Apprentice Program. An apprenticeship at OI New Zealand will deliver qualifications in both mechanical engineering and glass. There's a shortage of people in the role, so the chances of getting a job are good.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.